Hello, my dear students of class 5. I hope you all are good. So the previous class I have already discussed about new flower, what the chapter is about. So let us proceed directly with the lines, what the chapter is telling. As you can see, Ruskin Bond has written this chapter. It's about Usha and Ruskin Bond. So Usha is a young girl who sees a beautiful yellow flower on the hillside. That night, the delicate flower is washed away by heavy rains. Will Usha see the fall flower again? So read the story to find out. So let's read and find it out. I may not complete the whole chapter in a single class. I need one or two classes. So let's read and how it goes. Let's see. It was the first day of spring according to the Hindu calendar. But here in the Himalayas it still seemed midwinter. So according to our calendar, Hindu calendar, so it was the first day of spring, but but in the Himalayas it still seemed midwinter. As you know, the higher the altitude, the lower the temperature. So similar thing. A cold wind hummed and whistled through the pines. Pines are the trees. While dark rain clouds were swept along by the west wind, so the clouds were floating by with the west wind, only to be thrust back by the east wind, means pushed. Thrust is pushed back by the east wind. So the west wind was taking the clouds, but the east wind was pushing them away. I was climbing the steep. Here I refers to Ruskin Bond, the author. I was climbing the steep road to my cottage at the top of the hill. So what is steep? Having a slope, having a very deep slope. It's not it's a inclined one. It's a very deep slope. So at the top of the hill, when I was overtaken by 9-year-old Usha hurrying back from school. So, so when Ruskin Bond was going to his cottage, he suddenly came across Usha. And who was Usha? A 9-year-old girl who was returning back from school. She had tied a scarf round her head to keep her hair from blowing. So she tied a scarf around her head so that her hair do not blow. As she was running, she was in a hurry. Her dark hair, black eyes and pink cheeks could be seen all the more clearly because of the patches of snow still lying on the hillside. Look, so the background was white. When she was running, she means behind her there was still snow on that hills, and on that white background she was more a clear picture in front of the author. Look, she said, pointing a new flower. It was a single butter yellow blossom, and it stood out like a bright star against the drab winter grass. So, what is drab? It's not bright, which is very gloomy. So, in that gloomy winter grass, a flower that was butter yellow, and it was only the single one, it stood like a bright star. So, it was a contrast in that drab winter grass. I hadn't seen anything like it before and had no idea what its name. So here Usha is telling that I hadn't seen this kind of flower any day, and this is the very first time I am seeing it. No doubt its existence was recorded in some botanical tome. So here author is telling that he has no doubt that this existence of this flower might be recorded in some botanical or any garden, okay, but for me it was a new discovery. But for Ruskin Bond and Usha, both of them, it was a new discovery. They do not know about that flower. Shall I pick it for you? Asked Usha. So Usha said to Ruskin Bond, shall I pick it up for you? So here, did you know, you can see the Hindu calendar is based on the position of the sun and the moon, while the Western calendar is based on the position of the sun. So there is a difference between Hindu and the Western calendar. Western calendar is the normal calendar that we see, the numbers in English, but the numbers in Bengali and Hindi that we see, जो छोटा छोटा करके लिखा जाता है कैलेंडर में, so that is Hindu calendar. That is according to both sun and moon, and Western calendar is according to only sun. So this is the difference. Come to the next page. No, don't, I said. So Ruskin Bond said, no, you don't have to pick it up. It may be the only one. If you pluck it, there may not be any more. Let's leave it there and see if it seeds. So, author saw only one of it, one of its kind. So, he said Usha not to pluck it. Why? Because the reproduction, due to the reproduction, due to the seedling, due to the pollen grains, it can another seeds might fall somewhere, and the same kind of flower might be seen somewhere else also. So he said wait and let there be leave it there and see if it seeds more of its kind. We scrambled up the slope and examined the flower more closely. So we climbed this. So they climbed up. Scrambled is using your hand and climbing up. So they climbed up to that position and examined the flower more closely. It was very delicate, soft petaled, means the petals were very soft, looking as if it might fall at any moment. It will be finished if it rains, said Usha. So Usha warned Ruskin Bond. She said it can fall, it will drench away if rain flows heavily. And it did rain that night. Rain mingled with sleet and hail. So rain was a mixture of sleet and hail. It rattled and swished on the corrugated tin roof. What is corrugated? Corrugated is grooved tin roof, but in the morning the sun came out. I walked up the road without really expecting to see the flower again, and Usha had been right. The flower had disappeared in the storm. So in the previous storm, last night's storm, the flower was nowhere to be seen. But two other birds, unnoticed by us the day before, had opened. So there were another two birds that were there the previous day. It bloomed up. It was as though two tiny stars had fallen to earth in the night. So it seems like as if two stars have fallen down on that night. Why? Because the flower was not there, but the other two flowers, same kind of flower was there, and it was looking like a star. I did not see Usha that day. But the following day, when we met on the road, I showed her the fresh blossoms, and they were still there. 2 days later, when I passed by, but so were two goats grazing on the short grass and thorny thickets of the slope. I had no idea if they were partial to this particular flowers, but I did know that goats would eat almost anything, and I was taking no chances. Scrambling up the steep slope, I began to shoo them away. One goat retreated, but the other lowered its horns, gave me a baleful look, and refused to move. So, the author have seen two goats near that flower, that strange flower which they were not known of. So two goats were there. One goat escaped from there, getting feared from author, but the other was still there, and it was threatening the author with its small horns. and refused to move from there. It reminded me a little of my grandfather's pet goat. So that goat, it reminded him grandfather's pet goat, who had once pushed a visiting official into a bed of nasturtiums. Nasturtiums is plants with round leaves and orange, yellow, or red flowers. So I allowed discretion to be the better part of valor and backed away. So the narrator thought, no, let me not take the chance, let me not take the risk. It might attack me, so I must move back. So he moved away from there. Just then Usha came along and seizing up the situation came to the rescue. So seizing means she was understanding the situation that I was not able to remove the goat from there. So she came and helped me. She helped me to remove the goat. She unfurled her pretty blue umbrella and advanced on the goat. Okay, we keep it till here. So what happens next will come in the next video. So the flower was actually rescued by Usha or not, that will come to know in our next video class. So till now what we have studied, till now we have studied that it was the flower which means not means some strange flower which were very new to Ruskin Bond and that girl, and how the suspicion carries on, we'll check it in the next class. Till then, I hope you will be able to read till here. So read till page number 12 and study the new flower nicely. And I have already told you, go line by line. Line through reading is very important for your short questions. Okay, I'll help you out in our online class. So whatever till where we have done, we will read it again and revise in our online class. Better you will take out your doubts, you will keep your doubts and ask me questions in our next online class. Okay, thank you, bye bye.